narrator, and I'm doing another debate review stream. And today we have, again, the person featured in the debate is joining me as a special guest. So last time we had Preston on. That video was a lot of fun. Preston, he's a funny guy, you know. He's funny like a clown. No, the video was a lot more fun than I thought it would be. We really hit it off, and we had a lot of fun talking in the offline chat too. So shout out to Preston. I think he would be really good if he made a channel. But Ryan does have a channel, and I'll have that linked in the description of this video, so you guys can go and check that out. And maybe give him some subs and some views to check out his content. So Ryan, how are you doing today?
Oh, I mean, can't complain. Obviously my channel name's also there in the little parentheses, but I guess a little about myself. I am basically just an idiot that likes to make weird videos online. I really have an issue with misinformation, and especially when that leads to lying and conning to people, and just especially when it comes to kids, like Hovind, the things he does, and I don't know. He's just a disgusting man, and that's why I cover him so much. I do cover other people too. I've covered anyone from people like Roger from Mud Fossil University, who believes entire continents are dragons. Andrew Tate, a person.
Just leave it at that.
Yeah, I would use way too many cuss words to describe him. And I like to play video games on there too. Record my dog sometimes doing stuff. I mean, just whatever I like to make. Right now I have like 200 subs, so I'm extremely grateful to be here. Don't know why I am, but definitely not complaining. But yeah.
Yeah, well, we share a mutual patron who's Ian Chen, who is just an incredibly supportive person. If you know Ian, you know that he's very generous, and he loves to support the content creators that he watches. And he reached out to me and put me in contact with Ryan, and we talked a little bit about his debate. I gave him some advice for growing his channel, and hopefully, you know, I can help with that doing this video. And I have the link in the chat, so you guys can go over there and check it out and maybe throw him a sub. But yeah, so we're gonna do the standard Hovind operating procedure. We start the video at the open discussion. We don't need to watch intros. I don't, mainly because there's no point in watching Hovind's, and we have a limited amount of time.
Yeah, I mean, with Hovind, it's literally the same intro every time.
Yeah,
I mean, I'm pretty sure it was word for word the same as my first debate with him.
Yeah, well, like, you know, I would show your intro, but I think it's just better to do it this way, because, you know, after about an hour, I start to get tired and cranky. So I get
it. I mean, there ain't much to me.
Streaming is exhausting. I don't know if it's me, but
no, I mean, video making can be exhausting. I mean, it looks like nothing, but there's a lot that goes into it. I mean, not my videos. My videos kind of suck, but for people that make good content, such as yourself, a lot that goes into it.
Thank you. Okay. Yeah. So let's just get into it.
Thank you. Yeah. So went over a lot there, but you know, most part about fossils and the flood.
Real quick. I am going to have difficulty differentiating between past Ryan and current Ryan. So if you want me to stop the video, just say like pause.
Yeah, I got you.
I know it's you.
I just want to put a thing out there too. I was rather sick in this debate, so my voice kind of sounded like crap. I didn't even want to be there doing it that day, but just not to try and make excuses, but I mean, I got to throw something out there. So if the flood happened and buried all these whatever creatures and trees and everything else and created fossils, so by that assumption, you're saying that what I would consider the oldest possible farthest down layer of creatures and the very top were living at the same time?
Oh, absolutely, yes. There are still clams alive today, and there are clams found at the bottom of the geologic column. There are still birds alive today.
I thought the geologic column doesn't exist.
No, it doesn't. I mean, it can't exist because everything was alive at one time and then buried by this magical flood that we have no evidence for. So, obviously.
Yeah. And Kent, as a double standard, he simultaneously will say, oh, the clams, they can't run very fast, so they're at the bottom of the layer. But he also says that clams are at the top of Mount Everest.
Yeah,
Also.
he's just a walking contradiction. I mean, it's like I truly believe he lies so much, it's hard for him at this point to differentiate the truth from a lie. And he just spews out word salad.
Yeah. Hovind salad.
And they're found at the top, generally. Yeah. Nearly all the animals that you guys use as index fossils are still alive today. So yes, everything lived at the same time. This world was destroyed. Some animals have gone extinct. I understand that. But yes, my answer, short answer is all the animals in the geologic column, which in your imaginary geologic column, all lived at the same time. If there's any sorting, it might be by habitat. You know, buffalo are going to be found together because they hang out together. They might not be found with, coyotes because they don't like coyotes around them. So there could be some sorting based upon habitat, based on intelligence.
I'm going to try not to pause every time Hovind finishes a sentence.
Right.
But this is so dumb because fossil layers that have the same animals in them, those are animals that live during the same time period. It doesn't matter if they hung out together or not. They're going to be in the same layer if they lived during the same span of several million years. So this is so dumb.
See, and that's the biggest issue with his entire worldview is that I don't know if he just doesn't believe in time or what, but it's that whole 6,000-year-old Earth thing. I mean, if he didn't have that in his worldview, then you might be able to find some kind of common ground with him. He'll do circles trying to explain why it can't be. And it always comes down to because you think there's billions of years when really there's only 6,000. And I didn't, since we skipped over the intro, I didn't get to mention that I'm, as I said, an idiot. I'm not an expert in anything. So my goal with these debates, with the first and this one, was to basically just try to get him to answer as many questions as possible, to find out more of what he believes and into more detail. So you won't see a lot of scientific arguments from me at all.
Yeah, and I respect that. I like that strategy a lot because, I think that that's the way to go.
It's based upon mobility, based upon body density. A lot of factors would sort things automatically in a flood, just like this thing. Automatically just sorts into layers every time we tip it over. It makes a bunch of layers. Happens rapidly. But yes, you're correct. Short answer, yes. I think all the animals were alive at the same time.
Okay, so if that's true, and this flood happened, and the entirety of the Earth was covered in water, salt water for the most part, all the trees should be dead. And if that's the case, why do we have trees today that are older than when this flood should have happened?
Okay, you're basing on the assumption that it was salt water.
Real quick, sorry to interrupt, but actually I'm basing it on a tree you covered in one of your videos. Not you personally. I was
yeah.
I don't remember his name, but anyway, yeah. So,
well, I believe the flood was all fresh water. We do know that the oceans are getting saltier every day. If you watch my video number 1 of
Yeah, fresh water full of blood and corpses and dead animals and debris. That's some fresh water.
well, that's what's so ridiculous about it. It doesn't matter. They're still bare underwater in mud and everything else, like you said. They're still going to be dead. Especially this dude. He just right there just completely avoids the real question and goes into saltwater, freshwater nonsense that he believes.
Yeah, and he's saying that, you're assuming that it's saltwater. Kent will assume a bunch of things when he talks about the flood. He'll just be like, well, let's just say that, the floodwaters were calm in Lenox, Alabama, and that, it was 10 inches of tidal change. Like, he just makes up a number and says, well, let's just go with that. It's like, well, no, let's not go with that, asshole. Okay, so Horazio sent me a super chat for $25. in Mexican dollars. I don't know if that means pesos or. It says I googled it and oceans don't get saltier. Well, Kent Hovind has been debunked once again. And shout out to Horazio.
That's the thing. Like the percentage he's even talking about is so minute that it still doesn't matter. And like I said, it doesn't matter if it's salt or fresh water. They're still buried underwater. And real quick, I apologize if you hear any outside noise. My fiance and kid are playing, so.
No worries.
My series, I go through 30 different evidences that the Earth cannot be billions of years old. One of them is the measured known salinity increase in the oceans. All the rivers are running into the oceans, and they're bringing with them mineral salts. Evaporation only takes out the water, leaves the salts behind. We know the oceans are getting saltier. We know they average 3.6% now, some in different differences throughout the ocean, but roughly 3.6%. And we know that could all be done in less than a few thousand years. So if the whole world was fresh water, Noah wouldn't have to bring water on the ark, throw a bucket overboard. But also, the salt water wouldn't be a problem for killing all the trees. I think the flood was fresh water all over, nearly all over. There may have been some pockets of salt water. But then it becomes saltier since the flood. And I think the evidence indicates the oceans are less than, 4,400 years would be the Bible date. And that could easily be done.
Hey, I think your sound's...
Sorry.
Oh, you're good.
So Horazio is correct here. I don't know if Kent has already mentioned it, but he talks about that the rivers flow into the oceans and that the water evaporates and leaves the salt behind. Well, there are things called salt sinks that decrease the salinity of the ocean or keep it the same or stop it from getting saltier. And one of those is the sea spray. It sprays seawater onto the land, and that salt stays on the land. So that's just one example. Sea life can also help remove salts from the ocean because animals ingest salts from the water and incorporate them into their shells. And then they can fall to the ocean floor and become sediment like limestone.
Well, and not only that, like I said, I'm definitely not an expert, but wouldn't the rain come into account too? Like it's going to rain down fresh water.
Yeah.
With just the salinity increase. I could call that slide up if you'd like, but watch my video number 1, where I show all the evidence of that. The salinity of the ocean. As far as the trees surviving, trees can survive a flood just fine, especially floating log mats. Giant log mats the size of Texas would be floating around. And when they land, and sometimes I think the flood in some parts of the world might have only been a few weeks. It wouldn't take long to drown everybody. The fact that Noah was in the ark for a year has nothing to do with how long the flood lasted in Lenox, Alabama. The crust of the earth floating up and down during a flood, the crust was broken up. Some parts might have been inundated for a while and then exposed and then inundated again. If the crust is flexing, we know the crust is cracked all over the place with fault lines everywhere. So I think that when you get to heaven, I'll get the video and try to explain it to you about what happened actually. But my theory would be that the earth was all fresh water and it's become saltier ever since. Go ahead.
What about the creatures that can only live in salt water that were alive back then?
Well, there are saltwater creatures today that also have freshwater counterparts. There are saltwater bass, saltwater crocodiles, freshwater crocodiles. I think some animals have adapted to salt water.
When I was watching this debate, I knew exactly what Kent was going to say before he even said it.
Yeah, he
so annoying. This argument, so annoying.
He's become quite predictable. And that one thing I was telling you about before we started, that whatever documentary, he put it in there perfectly that Kent doesn't learn anything. He doesn't come up with his own ideas. He's just repeating what he was taught by that, I don't know, his mentor, basically. I don't remember his name.
Yeah. Henry Morris, Dwayne Pish. Dwayne Piss, that's what I call him.
Most of them don't like it. Most of them have to get ways of getting the salt out. Some of them put salt crystals out their eyes, some in their urine. But salt is generally a nuisance to the animals.
I've tasted it, so I know. That's how it's science. I know. I had to prove it.
Tasted it down at a science center.
Yeah. Yellow snow, yellow Hovind.
Now, some may have become totally
That's why I cough.
Yeah, all that piss.
Choking on the piss.
dependent on it. But going from a freshwater crocodile to a saltwater crocodile is a really minor change compared to going from a rock to a crocodile, which your religion.
It's like going from standing up to pee to sitting down to pee. It's a minor change, but I still do it. It doesn't make me less of a man.
teaches.
No, it doesn't. Evolution does not teach that at all, actually, but that's beside the point. Well, it doesn't. It's just there's very gradual changes. The issue is what I'm trying to get at here is the age of the earth thing. That's the biggest issue you have with evolution. It's the only reason it doesn't work. I mean, you still believe in a form of evolution. You even admitted to me that things do evolve. You just don't, for some reason, like to say life evolves, even though it would have to, because there was only a certain amount of animals left after this flood, and now there's everything we have today. So you still believe in a form of evolution. But regardless, the crust of the issue here is the age of the earth. That's why I keep coming back to it. And it's just, I'm just trying to figure out how people believe this. It's boggling to me. Like, I just don't understand it.
Okay. Well, two things. As far as the definition of evolution, you said, I believe in a form of evolution. This is the whole problem. You have to define the word. What do you mean? And I show many, many times in my seminar, there are 6 different meanings. Number 6 is off the screen here right now. You have to start off.
Things.
I'm hiding it under my butt.
No, like, I don't remember if I say it here, but it's just like, yeah, of course there's different, I guess, forms of evolution. But at the end of the day, evolution just means things evolve. Like, even if you're talking about life or language or, man-made things, and he just, in the first debate, he was perfectly fine with admitting that, except for when it comes to life for some bizarre reason.
Well, really, he accepts microevolution, which is evolution. He just doesn't think macroevolution is true because he somehow thinks that there's a point where it stops because small changes can't add up to big changes. Really, it's just he misrepresents what macroevolution is. And he says, well, I don't believe that. But like you say in the debate, and I like the fact that you're constantly telling Kent, like, no, that's wrong. That's not true. I really liked that because, you got to call him on his crap, and you really did that a lot, which is one of the things I liked a lot during this debate is that you really stopped Kent from controlling the flow of the debate and hogging the talk time, because he totally did that when I debated him. He steamrolled me a bunch of times, not constantly. Like, there was times when I didn't let him interrupt me, but I mean, you watched my debate with Kent, the second one where he got all pissed off and I couldn't get a word in,
Yeah, no, like the first one, this one I tried to let him talk because I got yelled at so many times by Donnie there in the first one because I was interrupting him too much, but he can interrupt all he wants. Hovind's allowed to.
Yeah.
I'm just not allowed to.
Yeah.
Evolve. That's all you need.
Okay. Well, then you're referring to variations within the same kind called microevolution.
No, I'm just referring to things evolve. Everything, not just life. Everything evolves.
Then the word evolve is too slippery. What do you mean?
I might actually agree with Kent here. I would advise against using this argument that everything evolves, because I feel like you're playing into Kent's 6 types of evolution nonsense. I think it's better to keep the focus on biological evolution, specifically microevolution and macroevolution. We're talking about life on Earth that already exists, not abiogenesis, and then splitting that up into micro and macro, because you don't want to give him an inch. Basically, you don't want to do anything that's going to look like you're agreeing with him or you're granting that any of his arguments might be true. So that would just be my advice there.
Oh, no, I will definitely take all of it. I'm not like ignoring you. I'm currently typing that down for if there's a next time. Just like the word kind.
Okay. Well, the Bible says they bring forth after their kind. If they can bring forth, they're the same kind.
Except if they can no longer bring forth like it to squirrel populations, but then they're still squirrels, so they're the same kind.
That's why he never he just will never define kind in a, I guess, scientific or mechanistic way. He just uses it however it'll suit him best.
Yeah, he gives examples, not definitions.
There are now 4,000 varieties of potatoes. Some have been developed over the years by natural or artificial selection to live in saltier soil. Some live in, more damp soil. Some live in dry climates, cold climates. Some taste sweeter, sweet potatoes. There's 4,000 varieties of potatoes. I think they probably had a common ancestor called a potato. But you guys want to think the potato and the banana and the human had a common ancestor. Ryan, do you believe over millions of generations you are related to a potato?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. All life is related.
Absolutely.
I mean, that's simple, though. But the problem is, that's the biggest problem, is that in your belief, you just don't have enough time. And I don't know what to tell you about that. I mean, you're just wrong.
So I think this is the right way to go about when Kent asks his bullshit line of questioning that he's going to do in every debate multiple times. You just answer it quickly and just move on. Let him do his routine and get his yuckles and try to make the people in the audience laugh because the person said that they are related to an animal and or plant. It's just like, yes, Kent, common ancestry is a thing. I believe that. You know that. That's why we're fucking debating evolution. So I don't know why you're asking that. But
Well,
yes.
Someone, I don't remember who put it this way. It might have been a comment, but I don't remember what it was. But he said essentially that you can kind of tell when someone is clearly lying by the fact that somebody that answers literally, directly, and with short answers, usually telling the truth. But when they have to go into freaking 10-minute explanations to just get around a question, let alone answer one, most likely lying.
Yeah, well, there's a quote from William Shakespeare, or as Kent calls him, Billy Wigglestick, that says, brevity is the soul of wit.
Wrong, but regardless, and the thing is, you're basing it off of a book written by people thousands of years ago. But anyway, even if this flood happened, there's no proof or evidence for it.
It's like when my wife's water broke.
Well, which wife?
Oh, yeah, which one? Oh,
No. At all, other than making some things up. And the reason we go with all the scientists you mentioned in your little intro, it's not saying that it's all the scientists, but it's above 90-some% of them. That's more than enough to be considered a majority. That's a very major majority, and that's how the world works with everything. I mean, that's how we define society, essentially. How we figure out moral reasons and laws to deal with stuff is usually majorities. But anyway, go ahead. Sorry.
Well, you got 4 topics on the table now. I'm trying to go one at a time. The fact that a majority believes something, does not ever make it true. You should know that. Otherwise, science could not progress at all. There wouldn't be no scientific discoveries when they discover, oh, wow. Now, in 1830, the majority of scientists believed the Earth was only 6,000 years old because the Bible dates add up to about 6,000. Was the majority of scientists wrong then and they're right now? Or were they right then and they're wrong now?
Okay, so right there. No, they didn't. But even if a majority of them did believe that, yeah, they were wrong. Because that's the point of science. It does evolve, and the wrong answers get put out, and you get more correct ones. But here's the difference. Once again, no, it was not the majority back then. But being wrong by a small percentage or by even halfway is a lot less than being wrong by 100%, like claiming the world's only 6,000 years old. That's a big difference.
Mm-hmm. I have to ask, are you aware of the Wade the Wizard debate where Kent went on this long rant doing a racist impression of Chinese people? Did you see that?
No, I did see I seen, it as a recommendation, but no, I never watched it.
Okay, I think we need to just take a moment to watch that. Okay, 20. I'll just record my.
Man, he just has a problem with everything. Like, he's racist. Dude doesn't like anything that's not, man and woman married, probably white man and woman married. Hates weed, hates alcohol.
Okay, can you see my screen share?
Yeah.
Of the Wade the Wizard debate? Is that showing?
Yes.
Okay.
All the dog breeders in China got together and said, we're going to breed a dog for the emperor. All the dog breeders in China got together and said, we're going to breed a dog for the emperor. Anytime a puppy seems closer to the goal, save it for the next generation. We're working to get a dog that's smaller and loves to do nothing all day. Nothing all day. Sit on the owner's lap. Very good, Chung Fu, but that one's way too big. We want smaller. Okay. Oh, Bing Chow, hair too long. We want short hair on the dog. So less mess for owner. Master, I succeeded. I create a dog that is small, short, hair, does nothing all day and night. Some problems come through, Master. We didn't mean for it to happen, but it did. Dog also very stupid and ugly and make funny noises all day and night. Also tongue hang out of mouth on side and drool. I so sorry, Master. Should I keep trying for small, short-haired dog and do nothing? Oh, no, Ching Chang. I know some Americans who are also dumb and will buy these for big American dollar. You do good, Ching. American women especially easy to fool, thinking dog is worth big money. American husband who pretend to like dog to keep wife happy. Quietly he knows, dog useless. But he say nothing.
I mean, it just keeps going and going, you know, for like a full minute. And you can see how visibly uncomfortable Wade is.
Yeah, his reactions were actually kind of killing me. Like, I don't know who that dude is, but I definitely want to look into him.
Yeah. So, Kent actually named one of the people in his little story Ching Chong, and said Dala. I mean, if it were me, I would have named one of the characters instead of Master Lee. I would have named him Immediate Lee. I posted that video on Twitter, and I got a couple of replies, and one of the things I said is that, well, we can look on the bright side. At least Kent didn't make a joke about them eating dogs, right? I thought that's where it was going to go.
That wouldn't surprise me. And laws to deal with stuff.
The majority of scientists believe the Earth was only 6,000 years old. Because the Bible days family tree, you believe that all these creatures came from a single-celled creature like an amoeba, protozoa, bacteria, something like that. The human, the bird,
not an amoeba.
Dude, every time.
And if you're going to talk about protists, the singular form of protozoa is a protist. The singular of bacteria is a bacterium. I mean, geez, Kent.
Oh, I mean, why would he want to get words right? That would almost make him look intelligent.
Well, I taught science 15 years.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, I taught in the back alley behind a Denny's. To, you know,
probably got his doctorate back there too.
Yeah, I mean, you know, I got it on the back of a Denny's kids meal placemat, but you know, it's legitimate. It's legitimate.
The reptile, the ladybug, the pine tree, and the worm all had a common ancestor. This is what the books teach. What we've observed is there are...
I assume that. I can't read.
I mean, he even admitted that. He said something one time, like, they asked if he read and spoke English, and he said, to a degree.
Yeah, in court.
Yeah, that's what it was.
That's lovely. We love you long time. Hovind love you long time.
Now, several hundred varieties of ladybugs. I agree. There's a lot of different varieties of humans. Some have darker skin, some lighter skin, some blonde hair, red hair, brown hair. There's a lot of varieties of humans, but they're still human. They're still interfertile. There's a lot of varieties.
Except the black people.
Of ladybugs.
And Chinese people.
Oh, boy.
But they're still ladybugs. This is a science. Science where we can observe, study, test, and demonstrate. We can see this happen, okay? But you want to believe ladybugs and humans are related if we go back to a common answer, and there's no such thing. This isn't science. You left science. But all the books say all the many forms of life are related. And you make up these family trees, and this is essential that you have billions of years for the fairy tale to look reasonable. This isn't science. We've observed sharks produce sharks. That's all we've observed. But you want to draw a line and connect the shark to a fern and a starfish and an octopus and say they're related. You want to think an amoeba, protozoa, in this case, turn to a biology teacher. This is from the public school textbooks.
No, it's not. No, it is not. That is not in any public school textbook.
Well, and even if it is, that's the worst part about this. Like you're using, maybe elementary, middle school, high school level textbooks, but that's just supposed to be like the most basic, overview form. Like get into a more, college level textbook. But he would actually have to go to college for that.
Yeah. Notice the fact that this image does not have any time scale on it at all. It doesn't say anything about years or how long this took. It doesn't have the scientific names of any of these species. It doesn't even have real photos. It has illustrations of these animals.
Yeah, honestly, and very like cutesy illustrations that definitely seem at least middle school level.
Right.
If it was ever in an actual book.
And it's not that you want to draw a line between two populations of animals. This is what the genetics shows.
Oh yeah, but I think it was him and I don't remember her name now, blanking on that, but in their debate where he essentially just says, oh, well, genetic code is just made by God, and it's just like code in a computer. It was it was made, so that doesn't prove anything.
He said that in a lot of debates.
I have hundreds of them. I object to them using the observable evidence of variations within the kind to make the kids believe that it goes forever. This is baloney. How's the marijuana?
Oh, it's just nicotine. But
okay.
Not that there would be an issue with the...
How's the marijuana that Steve Lynn was smoking in addition to other harder drugs when he was on DAL campus and then getting arrested for stealing a truck, and then you took him out of rehab and brought him back to DAL, and the people at DAL were crying because they didn't want Steve to come back. But yeah, marijuana is so bad, Kent. Unless it's somebody that you like using it, then it's okay.
I did not know about that one. And honestly, too, with his age, like you're telling me what, you ain't ever tried it? I mean,
I've never seen marijuana. Was it blue? It's blue, right? Yeah, it's blue. God made it that way.
Marijuana. I mean, I wouldn't mind some right now, let me tell you. But anyway, so I mentioned this last time, that when you start doing this, you start not attacking, but like basically denying other scientific fields. I mean, right there, to say the age of the earth thing, the reason I always like to come back to it. So now you have an issue with geology and just earth science in general. You have an issue with astronomy or anything that has to do with space now. And that's what I just don't get. Are you saying that just science in a whole is just wrong and should not be taught? Because you like to say that it's just evolution, but it's not. I mean, you're denying a lot here.
No, I love science. We have a science center. We do trillions of science experiments. Big Bad Ryan. Trillions. Come see. Come see.
Yeah, I know. He always says that.
Tour.
Yeah, come down and see. Like I would ever give any money to this man.
Come down and see. It'll get a one-way ticket. You won't be leaving.
But I explained it. I think I explained it a little better in the first one, where it's like essentially think of it as like a brick house, and every brick is a different field or study or a subfield or whatever. And he thinks he's just taking one out, but he's dismantling the entire structure by attacking this. And I assume he realizes it and just doesn't care. But I don't know. He just,
Well, again, one topic at a time. I love science. I taught earth science and physical science and biology for 15 years, and I know the subject pretty well. Junior high and high school level, mostly high school.
No, you lied to children in a church.
Oh, mostly high school. Okay. We have to differentiate that, make that distinction. It was junior high and high school, but mostly high school. Well, if you're going to lie, shoot for the moon, right?
I know. I don't know why I didn't say he was a college professor with his, 3 doctorates, a master, and whatever else he wants to throw in there.
4 PhDs. Okay. 4.
I'm not against science. I'm against the pollution that's mixed in with years.
I'm not against interracial marriage. I'm just, I just think that, I would like to have my own water fountain. That's all.
Yeah, and he's definitely, well, I can't say he's not against gay marriage. He straight up says he is. Says, I can't remember what exactly he said, but something like it was disgusting and immoral, and
pretty much.
It's just it blows my mind because it's not like this is a new thing. I don't know.
So we have a super chat from Sam for $2. It says, "Much love to both of you. Thank you for all you do here, AJ." Well, thank you, Sam. Thank you for your generosity by sending a super chat. I truly appreciate that.
Yeah, thank you, Sam. You are a beautiful individual.
Books teach what we've observed. Yeah, I love the science, but the age of the Earth is not provable scientifically. I go through on video number 1. I was trying to find it real quick here, but I got 8 million slides.
And who made those slides?
Right. Well, probably
You
not
did.
him. It was probably his lackeys.
Well, I mean, he's the one who, it's his fault that he has that many slides. So there's nothing stopping him from editing down the slides that he doesn't need, or just organizing them in a way that it won't matter if he has a ton of them. He could just organize them into categories, but it's ridiculous.
No,
Right.
that would take actual work. I mean, he doesn't want to work for his money. Why
He's
do you think he
helpless.
does this?
He's helpless without his slides.
He's helpless with his slides.
Yeah.
The moon is going around the Earth, but the moon's getting further away, a couple inches a year, inch and 1.6 or something. They argue with the exact number, but nobody disagrees. The moon's getting.
My ex-wife argued about the number too.
Well, not his fourth one though. His fourth one's the one that's perfectly subservient and obedient to him. That's why he loves her.
I said ex-wife. XXX, triple oven.
getting farther from the Earth, called the lunar recession problem. Google it. Okay, well, that means it used to be closer. What factors could possibly change that? I mean, we could put a string on the moon and hold it in or something. It's something we cannot possibly affect by anything we do on Earth. The moon is getting further. Okay. Well, they've done all the math on this and said, wow, if you bring the moon in closer, gravity becomes stronger, tides become higher, and it's like two magnets with the inverse square law. If you half the distance, you flip the half fraction over and square it, it's 4 times the gravitational pull. At half the distance, it's 4 times the pull. At 1/3 the distance, it's 9 times the pull. Everybody that's done the math on this says, look, about 1 billion years ago, the Earth-Moon system would collapse, to snap together.
Gee, I wonder if that's because the moon formed by a major impact of the Earth with something that knocked off a huge chunk of rock, molten rock, that became the moon.
No. God made it. He just went like, boom. He just made it. And then he said, you know what? Even though I'm perfect and an almighty being, it's not perfect. So I need to make it move a little bit away. Yeah, that makes sense.
Right. But we know that this happened because when Apollo 13 landed on the moon, they were looking for a very specific type of rock. And I believe it's called a northrisite. I could be pronouncing that wrong. But they were looking for this rock because the only way that it could form is it's an igneous rock. It's composed of calcium and feldspar. And they knew when they found these anorthosite rocks on the moon that it proved that the moon was from the Earth. It was material that was knocked off of the Earth and was molten and then cooled down. So I think the hypothesis is that a smaller planet or planetesimal collided with the Earth and knocked off a ton of molten rock that was separate, like asteroids, off of the Earth. And then they're all floating out in space. And because of gravity, they all coalesce together. And that's what formed our moon. And So there's nothing wrong with saying that if you wind the clock back, eventually the moon's path is going to collide with the Earth. That's totally logical if you follow that hypothesis of how the moon formed. So this isn't a debunk of the Earth being billions of years old, much less the universe.
Yeah, I really wish I would have known more about this subject, like when it came. Oh, if you want to do the super chat real quick.
We have a $2 super chat from Big Bad Mama, Creationist Crybaby. It says love and support to AJ and Ryan. Well, thank you, Big Bad Mama.
Thank you, Big Bad Mama. You are beautiful as well.
Apollo 11. My bad.
So yeah, I was horrible at this, like my response to this, because I just, like I said, I don't know. I did not know enough about it. Really, still don't. But
yeah,
I wish I would have had that explanation up my sleeve, because that would have sounded way better than what I say here.
Well, I hope you're taking notes.
Oh no, I am. I'm typing furiously over here.
You cannot have an Earth older than 1 billion years old, maybe 1.2.
Oh,
but you want to claim it's 4.6. It's not possible. Forget the Bible, forget everything else. The moon says it can't be more than 1 billion years old, but you can't turn your frog to a prince in 1 billion years. You got to have more time. The Earth is spinning, but the Earth is slowing down. It's measurable. That's why we have what's called a leap second.
See, he didn't even give you a chance to respond, and neither does Donnie. If this was the other way around, I guarantee you Donnie would have cut you off.
Oh, he would have cut me off so many times by now. Like it wouldn't have even been realistic. But and I think Donnie actually cuts me off coming up though.
Oh, I'm sure he does.
Something because I didn't answer.
But he's totally changing the topic right here.
No, that's the thing. Like he's allowed to. He complains so much that I'll have 40 different topics or whatever, while he has another super chat there.
Okay, from Quagma TV for $5. It says the flood story disproves God, shows he's not who they claim he is.
I mean, that's a fair point. That's yeah. I mean, there's a lot of things like that though in the Bible, you know. I mean, or just in life in general, that if he's so perfect, then why did he make things like this? And I don't know, not to get into the Bible too much, but the whole thing with, you know, the Adam and Eve, it's like he supposedly is so omnipotent, almighty, and can do anything, but yet either wanted that to happen or allowed it to happen. Like they like to claim that, you know, Lucifer, the serpent, whatever, is the liar, but truthfully, God is the liar by omission.
Every year and a half, the Earth is slowing down in its spin. We know what's causing it. The tidal breaking up and down, the internal friction against the underside of the crust, the lunar drag. There's known factors that are scientifically testable. The Earth is slowing down. Google it. Okay, well, that means it used to be going faster. We'll go back in time. How much faster could it go before this would create a serious problem? If the Earth were spinning faster, all kinds of things would go crazy on the Earth. You cannot go back billions of years just with the spin of the Earth or the lunar recession. The sun is burning up a lot of fuel. Step outside and look at it. The sun.
Oh, one topic at a time, Kent. So holy shit. So Jesus Christ, I literally forgot what I was going to say because he's going to so many different topics.
See, that's the hardest part.
Drag.
Sorry,
Yeah,
that's the hardest part about debating him, is like trying to keep yourself on topic, because it's just he's jumping all over the place, and then you think of a new response for that, and then you forget your old one, and that drives me nuts.
That's not accidental. But Preston had a good piece of advice for that. What he said is that when he has a question or a topic that he wants Kent to answer, or that he wants Kent to talk about, what he'll do is he'll just bring that thing up to Kent and then basically turn his brain off when Kent starts talking about something that's not that topic. And then as soon as Kent finishes, he just immediately will repeat himself. Just repeat the question or bring up the topic again.
Yeah, see,
what he's saying.
I actually heard him say that in that live stream that you did with him, and I kind of tried to do that here, and it should be coming up soon. And that's where Donnie like cut me off and basically said no, you need to answer one of his million points that he just brought up.
Yeah, and that can also be difficult. It's kind of like 2 versus 1.
There's known factors that are scientifically testable. The Earth is slowing down. Google it. Okay, well, that means it used to be going fast.
Oh, I remember what I was going to say. So first of all, he says that, well, the Earth is slowing down. If it's slowing down, that means that it used to be faster. Well, we know that the universe is expanding. We know that planets are expanding outward. Well, if you go back in the past, that means that it condenses into one point. But he would never accept that, even though it's using the exact same logic he's using.
Well, and see, I actually brought that up in the first debate a little bit, where it was like, it's logical to presume that everything, condensed into one point. But I think it was Carl Sagan that said, but what if it wasn't like that? What if everything was just here as it was and it's still expanding? That still doesn't prove or disprove a God. And it's just, I don't know. It's like he loves to just ignore anything that can even remotely go against what he's preaching, his Hovind religion.
Yeah, and he says that, oh, well, if you go back X amount of years, blah, blah, blah. But then whenever somebody on the other side is talking about extrapolating evolution or common ancestry back in the past, they'll say, oh, well, you can't go back. You can't go back in the past. That's imagination. So that doesn't count. You're not allowed to.
Yeah, unless you use the Bible to do it, then it's okay.
And this is right. The sun isn't burning up fuel. The sun is doing nuclear fusion. So it's burning up hydrogen and producing helium, I think.
Yeah, it's essentially a balance act. Like the sun wants to expand out and just blow boom. But, not only the gravity and all that kind of forces it back in. It's that lovely balance that gives us life and everything we have today.
Yeah. So in the core of the sun, hydrogen is being converted into helium, and it's nuclear fusion, where it takes 4 hydrogen atoms to fuse into 1 helium atom. And during that process, some of the mass is going to be converted into energy, which is the heat and sunlight that we get from the sun. But it's not burning up fuel. The sun isn't burning like a bonfire.
Yeah, that's what they think. It's just like a big candle or something.
Faster. We'll go back in time. How much faster could it go before this would create a serious problem? If the Earth were spinning faster, all kinds of things would go crazy on the Earth. You cannot go back billions of years just with the spin of the Earth or the lunar recession. The sun is burning up a lot of fuel. Step outside and look at it. The sun is burning up 5 million tons a second. It's shrinking 5 feet per hour. Well, duh, go back in time in your imagination. It used to be bigger and heavier.
Okay, for $5 from Nod, it says, Donnie calling Kent brother always makes me cringe. Great job in this one, Ryan. Happy holidays, AJ, Ryan, and chat.
Well, thank you, Nod. And I just want to point out, like, he loves to say that it's burning up 5 million whatever a second, but obviously, it's like you said, nuclear furnace, essentially. It's not burning, but it's like he doesn't comprehend how much the sun actually weighs is kind of a wrong word. The mass of the sun, like that 5 million per second is nothing compared to the entirety of the sun.
Exactly.
Well, that's going to upset the gravitational balance. You can't have the sun-Earth system being billions of years old just because of the way the sun is burning up its fuel. I cover 30 of those, Ryan, on my video number 1. I'll send it to you if you like for free. You can watch it online.
Then why would you need to send him the DVD?
Well, I mean, because, he doesn't know how to go online and watch it. Why would anyone else? It's probably just easier in his mind. I'm surprised he doesn't have it on VHS tape still.
I'm sure he does, but he just says that because he wants your address, basically.
Oh, yeah. No. He's... I kind of figured that with his, like, I don't know. He said that a lot. He says that in the past debate, too, about sending stuff and trying to get you down there. It seems like he honestly just wants to, find out as much information about you as possible to put it out there. Probably because a lot of information about him is out there in the world now.
So for £5 from Chris Peacock, it says, buy yourself a heavy purse to hit Hovind with. That's a good one. Yeah.
Oh, man. I like that.
Kent has accused me of wanting to strike him with my purse that I apparently own.
Well, I mean, I don't own a purse. My fiance does, so a few of them. I can probably find a heavy one.
First of all, it's not a purse. It's a satchel. Okay. Second of all, if Kent's going to threaten to body slam me, then I'm going to have to defend myself.
He threatened to body slam you? Was that in the second debate?
No. Me and Paula Gia did our video last year. And I said in that video that when Kent Hovind gets angry at somebody, he body slams them, because I was reading a story about how Kent got mad at a 13-year-old boy who shot a rubber band at his face, and he slammed him to the ground.
Oh.
And then he got found guilty of doing it to his ex-wife. So I said that, and then he was just saying, I haven't body slammed anybody. I'm capable. I could probably body slam you, AJ.
Yeah, he's threatened you, threatened IRS agents, police. I gotta say, for a Christian, he's awful judgy and violent.
Yeah. Okay. Super chats are just rolling in. So we have one from Colossia789, who is one of my channel members. Member. Like penis. For $5, it says, had Kent on mute most of the time, his voice and my migraine are like water and oil. Well, I apologize, because you can't mute me when I do an impression of Kent Hovind.
Dude, I feel that, man. Like I said, I was sick there in that debate. My head was killing me, and his voice like cuts through like a freaking knife. Yep.
Trust me, I'm right there with you. Kent was sick when we debated. He rescheduled. He asked me to reschedule the debate the first time. And I did. I agreed to it. But going into the debate, I was really feeling shitty, like mentally. And I think it showed a little bit in my performance. But I still think I won.
Yeah, that was this one for me. Like I was not about it. The first one I was way more lively and stuff, but this one I just wanted it to be over. I was over at the moment it started.
So the point is, there are lots of scientific indicators you cannot have billions of years. Now, if all you said about astronomy and the stars, I covered that on video number 7 for 20 minutes. We don't know the distance to the stars. You don't know the star light's always been the same. They know they've been able to speed up light and slow it down in the laboratory. That's been done on many times. They speeded light up to 300 times the speed of light at Princeton. And your Big Bang theory says the universe, the actual matter, traveled faster than the speed of light, away from the rapid expansion. Start off with a proton, expand to everything we see today. You can't fit a gallon of milk into a dot the size of a proton, let alone the whole Pacific Ocean, let alone all the stars and planets. It is so insane that so many people have swallowed this dumb lie that everything came from a dot exploding. There's 30 or 40 scientific indicators you can't have billions of years.
Okay, so that was a serious gish gallop. So we do know the distances to stars because we can measure them using something called standard candles. They used to use trigonometry, but they don't have to do that anymore. We can use standard candles where we know exactly how far away certain objects are based on them having a constant luminosity. We know that the speed of light in a vacuum is constant. It is possible to speed up light when you're talking about the phase velocity, but not the group velocity. So, and in these experiments he's talking about where they sped light up, it was not in a vacuum, like in the vacuum of space. These are going through a medium, and this is referencing the group velocity, not breaking the universal speed limit, because if they really did that, then we wouldn't say that the speed of light is constant.
Yeah. And I think it also comes down to that he doesn't I could definitely be wrong, but he doesn't seem to comprehend what space is or space time. Like he doesn't. I don't know the best way to explain it, but
Yeah.
I think to him, because space isn't actually empty. I mean, space is a thing, and I don't think he truly gets that.
No, he doesn't. He always says, because he said, like, oh, God created the universe. God's a Trinity, and the universe has length, width, and height. He says height, which isn't a word, and that the universe has space, time, and which is matter. A trinity of like where, when, and like I forget how he says it, but he separates space and time.
Yeah, he says time, space, and matter. Like he doesn't.
Yeah, space, time, space, and matter. Exactly.
I said it in this that like time, at least in my opinion, time is made up by humans. I mean, time is just a thing, a concept we made up to keep track of the day, essentially. Like space time is a completely different thing. It doesn't I don't know. He's just he's something else.
He's definitely a grifter, but there are definitely things he doesn't understand, and this is one of them. Monophyly is another one. He does not get monophyly at all. It's really bad.
And I know if we take away time, that is where we go here. That's the pacifier to the evolutionist. If you take away, that's what keeps them happy. They somehow can imagine everything happening if you give them billions of years. I'm sorry, you can't have billions of years, and even then it wouldn't work. Nobody's ever seen a cow produce a non-cow. But you want to have a cow and a ladybug related, and you're related to a potato in your mind. I don't know how to help you.
See, you keep saying that we have to have this time. It's not that you have to have it. You just have it because that's how much time has occurred. I mean, that's a fact. But regardless, once again, why? So all these people, like millions upon millions of people alive today that are studying these sciences, I mean, they're just wrong. Like you're smarter than all of them. Is that what you're claiming?
Actually, Ryan, if I could jump in here real quick, Kent did provide a few examples or lines of argumentation supporting his position of a young Earth. Is there any one of them that you wanted to try and counter, and we can give you equal time to maybe address scientifically, but it's up to you, Ryan. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, I will. It's just the thing is, it doesn't matter. He doesn't believe in science, and that's what I'm trying to figure out. If there's any sciences that we can agree on, or if he does believe.
Well, he did use scientific-based arguments to support the lines of evidence he just provided. Now, you may disagree with that, but do you have any science?
To an extent, but he didn't also. Like, the thing is, he's just making claims that aren't true. He doesn't understand the science. The thing with the moon, or you want to go with the sun, or all of the other ones he decided to touch on, he's just misrepresenting or completely just not understanding the science. And that's why I asked the question. If he does agree with any scientists out there, I just don't understand it. It's very confusing.
I agree. You don't understand it. I love science. Absolutely love it. Evolution is not.
So that's obviously not what you were saying.
Yeah, no, it just goes back to that, he thinks he's just trying to debunk or discredit evolution, but he's discrediting the entire field of science, or trying to.
But you were saying that you don't understand, like, why his arguments are so bad, basically.
Oh, yeah, he just threw that in there to, get that laugh.
Oh, yeah. You gotta do that.
Yeah, that's kind of my main goal for it. It's just, like I said, I mean, I'm not smart enough to really argue the science, but maybe I can make someone laugh.
Science, Ryan. It is science that potatoes produce potatoes. It is science that potatoes can produce a variety of potatoes. And you can scientifically select for bigger potatoes or smaller potatoes. That's called artificial selection. Farmers do that all the time. It is science that cows produce cows. And you could decide, I want to raise a herd of cows that are all white. And you could select all the white ones to breed, and pretty soon, after 8 or 10 generations, they're all white. You haven't created anything. You already had hair, already had white cows. Now you got all white cows. Okay, big deal. but you can't turn the cow to a potato or vice versa. And science is what we can observe. And the fact that all the scientists believe, at first, that's not true. Secondly, that wouldn't matter. And thirdly, the way science advances is people like me standing up saying, oh, excuse me, I think we're wrong about this. I think you can use, I think somebody could make electricity. Whoa, let's try. Oh, that didn't work. Let's try this. And you try enough experiments, and pretty soon, wow, we got somebody says, hey, we can get electricity. All the inventions in science are because somebody challenged the status quo. Yes, I'm not smarter than all of them. I'm smarter than a lot of them. But I think that if they believe they came from a rock, they're not following science. Science is what we can observe and know. What do we know? It comes from the Latin word seer. We know cows produce cows. That we know. We do not know cows and potatoes have a common ancestor. You don't know that. You believe those things. That's where the word evolution has 6 different meanings. Microevolution is a lousy term. I don't think we should use it, but they do. All it is variations within the kind. Bigger cows, smaller cows. They've been trying for a long time to get smaller dogs. I saw one today. I couldn't believe it. Completely useless. This big, little bitty toy cup chihuahua, whatever the thing is. That thing wouldn't last 10 seconds out in the woods by itself. The ants would eat it, okay? It has no chance of survival in nature. It's been artificially selected by man, but it's still a dog. Barely recognizable as a dog, but it's a dog, okay? That's all they've ever done is get variations within the same kind. They're never going to get a dog as small as a flea or as big as Texas. There are limits. Why you guys can't admit, yes, variations happen, but they're limited. You'll never admit that. You think they go forever.
No, and once again,
I'm still just laughing to myself that Standing for Truth came into the chat and made one comment, getting pissed off at Monkey for Banana, and then just dipped.
Yeah, I saw that. You messaged me or whatever, and then I went back and looked for it. I'm wondering at this point now if he'll even have me back. I did kind of talk a little bit of shit about him.
Not really. I mean, I messaged SFT after my debate because I was not happy with how much Kent interrupted me and how SFT didn't do anything to moderate the debate. He
only does for Hovind.
Well, I mean, he's getting paid to do this.
Yeah, and it shows so much. Like the moment this debate wasn't the greatest example, but in the first one, anytime I got him off of his script or made him angry, boom, he was right there to jump in and be like, well, I'm not going to say who it was, but we need to make sure everyone gets equal time and we're not interrupting each other. It's like, just say me at that point. I mean, you don't have to beat around the bush.
Yeah, I mean, you're biased, Donnie.
Oh, extremely.
It's just obvious. And if your channel name is Standing for Truth, if you're standing for truth, then the truth should come first. It shouldn't come. It shouldn't be more important who is a creationist and who agrees with me, or who is helping my channel grow by being on here, like Kent is, or bringing in super chats because people watch the debates. It should be fair moderation, a neutral platform, even if you're friends with Kent. Because I could have an atheist debate platform like Snake Was Right as an atheist, and he can moderate a debate and still be impartial and neutral, even if it's an atheist versus a theist in the debate. So there's no reason to be biased. I think that you are intimidated to stand up to Kent live.
Yeah, he doesn't want that money to go away.
Well, maybe it's that, but I can see why. Kent is an intimidating person to try and talk to or talk over or try and try and wrangle him to have a discussion where he disagrees with it. It's very difficult. He's very stubborn. You know what I mean? And
yeah,
he's very shouty.
I think another issue is too, it's like he claims that his channel name is Standing for Truth, but right there in the bottom right corner, like that is a more adequate name. Standing for Truth, Biblical Creation. Like that should be his whole channel name. Or the other one, Standing for Truth Ministries or whatever it is.
Just change it to Soggy French Toast. It's about the same Shame. That would be as good a moderator as you. So from Triumph the Insult Dog, for $2, it says, "What the hell is the problem with small dogs?"
Well, I mean, not to agree with Kent, but I will concede that the artificial selection that we have done to dogs would make a dog like a Chihuahua pretty horrible in the wild. But again, they don't have to be in the wild. That's how we live now, you know.
Well, I have said this before, but I live in San Antonio, which is South Texas, and if you ever go on the west side here, or we call it the barrio, there are tons of stray Chihuahuas walking around on the streets, and they do not stop if a car is coming and they're in the middle of the road. They don't care.
Yeah, honestly, Chihuahuas probably
dogs.
That's kind of probably the wrong example because they're pretty mean and
they're
pretty
very
vicious.
Resilient.
Yeah,
wild Chihuahuas. So this is why I laugh when I hear Kent say this, because they seem to survive pretty well to me. I mean, a small dog doesn't need to eat as much as a huge dog does.
Well, that's true, and it's going to be more agile, be able to fit and hide in more places. So
right. It's easier for them to find shelter at night, or if it's cold, you know, and they're less likely to be targeted by, you know, bigger animals or getting run over, you know. And they're fast too.
Yeah,
so that's just wrong here. And not to mention the fact that, of course, animals that are created or developed using artificial selection, of course, if you take them out of that environment and put them in the wild, of course, they're not going to do well because they didn't come up in that environment.
Well, and that can be said for most dogs in general too, honestly. Like even bigger ones, if you something like a Great Dane, I mean, that's a big dog. But they're very prone to, you know, breaking their leg or all sorts of hip dysplasia and stuff like that. You throw that out into the wild, it ain't going to do well.
Right. And I used to have a teacup Chihuahua named Taco.
Love it.
And she lived to be, I think, about 13 years old. They live a long time.
Yeah. My
parents
had
a Rottweiler. Yeah, we had a Rottweiler, a male Rottweiler, and a teacup Chihuahua, and they were best friends. And she used to hump the Rottweiler.
Yeah, it would probably make that Rottweiler back down a few times, man.
She would bark at him.
Yeah, they're vicious little things.
But he got hip cancer in his bones and died when he was 5 years old. And you know, they're very prone to hip dysplasia too. So I just think Kent's totally wrong here. I just think that's funny.
I mean, he's pretty much totally wrong about every word that comes out of his mouth.
Yeah. And you know, I have a video of Kent. Maybe I should just show it, but
first I gotta say, what's up, Mr. Jones? And that's very true. I think Sir Six said it before, someone did, that pretty much any time a YouTuber has the truth in their name, rarely is it ever the truth.
Yeah. So I have a video on my channel called Kent Hovind Hates Dogs. And I won't get into it, but check out that video. If you want to hear what he thinks about Chihuahuas.
Again, see right there. Evolution does not say that we came from a rock. It does not say that a dog will produce a non-dog or a cow will produce a non-cow. That's not what it says at all. You just don't understand it. Or more, what I should say is you're misrepresenting it on purpose because that's your thing. I get that. And I have no issue with that. I mean, that's your whole shtick. But regardless,
I love that. I just thought that was awesome.
That's true, though. I mean, it's what he does. Like, I do, like I said, I do get it. He does it for the laughs, the views, the money, and all that. And everyone has their thing, and I guess that's okay. But like I said in the beginning, like before we started, when it comes to lying to children and just essentially, the biggest issue is if his influence gets too big, you're gonna stunt so many children that could have grown up to create amazing things. And now they won't because they're stuck in, oh, the Bible says this and God will take care of everything.
Well, so that I feel like I'm comfortable giving you the last word. I like how you sort of wrapped that up. I mean, that pretty much just sums up Kent's whole deal very neatly. So I think I'm going to put your channel link in the comments again. And I'm going to instruct everybody to go over to Ryan's channel and throw him a subscription. Check out some of his videos. Maybe check out the video he did reacting to my Kent Hovind impression. I like that one. And there are some very nice comments in the comment section.
Yeah, it was pretty much just me laughing. I got to say, I've seen a few people already did sub, and I truly appreciate that. And I mean, you have no idea that I thank you to you, AJ, and all of your viewers here who, for some reason, would go over to my channel too. I do truly appreciate that from the bottom of my heart.
Well, I'm always, you know, trying to support smaller channels and encourage people like Big Bad Mama and Mark Reed to make content and to take the channel more seriously, because I think anybody can do YouTube, and I think that the more voices that we have debunking nonsense like this and normalizing atheism, or just normalizing science education, is a good thing. But yeah, so I'm gonna have the link in the description of the video. It's in the side chat too, and I am just going to say thank you to the people in the side chat for watching, and be sure to like the video. And if you guys want to support more of my content, you can go to my Patreon. It's patreon.com/Atheist Jr. I also have channel memberships. On the last video, or the last stream I did, somebody did the thing where they gift out 5 channel memberships, which somebody did, which is awesome. I think some old guy was the person's username, which is, you know, I love to see that. So there's different ways of supporting it. But yeah, that's pretty much it. And Ryan, did you have anything you wanted to say before we sort of sign off?
Yeah, I just, you know, thank you again. And I guess I just want to put out there the main reason I do this, that, like, you know, I would go up against Hovind, or anyone really. I'm going up against McQueen here coming up in a couple weeks, is I just want to show that, like you said, anyone can make videos. Anyone can debate these people. Like, if I can, I promise you anyone else can. I mean, I am as much of an idiot as it comes. So just, you know, just start making stuff. The more you do it, the more fun it'll be.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, yeah, thanks for coming on, and I'll just see you guys in the next video.
Yeah, thanks for having me.